Okay, they can hear us.
Okay. Just short and sweet. I know you guys are familiar with gifted in the elementary schools, but that is where they do like a pull-out program, the 3 hours once a week. And so it's a little bit different when they come to middle school. They have a couple of different ways they can be served. One being, well, sixth grade, all sixth graders have to take reading. And so they can do the sixth grade gifted reading along with the gifted explorations. And that's a class period during their day so that they're not pulled out like they are in elementary school. But if they can also be served in 7th and 8th grade if they don't take the gifted elective by advanced language and advanced math classes. But we kind of like having the 6th grade with the 7th and 8th grade so they can see what 7th and 8th grade are doing with Future City and the different projects that they get to do. So that's why Miss Sims and I kind of team teach in a way. I mean, I'm the 6th grade teacher and she does 7th and 8th, but we let the kids see what's going on so that they can decide if that's something they'll be interested in. So, do you have any questions for me? Anybody? No?
Is gifted reading the same as advanced language arts?
It is not.
So he's supposed to be in gifted reading and gifted explorations?
Okay, so we're going to go over that.
Oh, then never mind. Go ahead.
We're going to hit that. I'm glad you asked that, though. And I'm Miss Sims. I'll go ahead and introduce myself. This is my 2nd year at Decatur Middle. I believe it's my 4th year doing gifted for Decatur City. So I, like she said, Miss King said, overseeing this year the 7th and 8th grade gifted students. But we tell the kids, don't see me, go to her, that kind of thing. We work together. So the GEP that we're going to get y'all to sign, basically, I don't want to jump ahead, but we just want to make sure that it's written somewhere that these services are something that your gifted student deserves. So just in case we went virtual, we wanted to get this meeting handled, if you will, and just a forward to everything that she's going to present. Next year, 7th, 8th grade year, their GEP won't change, but as we go over the advanced classes and how gifted services are offered, keep in mind next year when they do their schedules, if there's not a gifted elective or an advanced class they're in, they're not getting services. So holler at us. We need to make sure that we address that. And I'll let you.
You want to?
Yeah.
Can you click through here?
Sure.
Okay.
And that's the notes on it.
Okay.
Some of them you won't need, but
Okay.
it's just down up there. Skipping through.
In gifted, it's not necessarily more work. That's not the point of gifted. It's just that we're going to go more in depth than maybe what the normal classroom teacher would do. We're going to go faster. If they already know it, we're not going to spend time talking about it or going over it. We're going to move on. So a lot of times they'll have like, when they come in, they'll have a bell ringer or something so we know kind of what they know and we'll have a little bit of a discussion. And if they already know what we were going to talk about that day, then we're going to go deeper. And instead of spending our time going over information that they already know, we're going to go deeper. The reading class, we're going to go faster than the normal reading class. And this is gifted reading / gifted explorations. And so we're not going to spend every day, talking about genre or that kind of thing. We'll spend some time doing reading. They'll have books that they're reading on their own, but then we might do some personality quizzes and some things that they might be good at and some projects. So it's not like, I would say, your traditional reading class where I'm standing up, giving information, giving notes, and they're taking them, and then we have a test on it. It's almost more, of course, if there's something that they don't know, then we will stop and talk about that. But it's almost more of a discussion kind of forum instead of me just standing up and presenting. I kind of get us started, and then we let them take the reins. everybody, of course, doesn't have the same gifts or the same talents. And so we try to touch on what everybody is interested in at some point in time during the year. I like to tell my kids, if you don't like what we're doing right now, just hold on, because eventually we will get to something that interests you, because we do have such a wide variety of talents and gifts and interests in the 6th grade group. Let's see. I don't know where Miss Sims did with the mouse. Their affective needs. We find a lot of times, especially in the transition to middle school, we really want to make sure that we're touching on those needs. There's so much going on, brand new school and older kids, and sometimes they just don't quite know where they fit yet. And so we may have a whole lesson planned, and something may happen, and we may need to just talk about, bullying or being kind or those kinds of things. And so that's a big component of what we do in 6th grade too, is taking care of their affective needs. Do you have the next slide, Ms. Simmons? I kind of touched on that, the no more pull out. In 6th grade, every 6th grader has to take reading. So your child is in gifted reading if that is what they signed up for. So I see you looking.
We did, but that's not what he's in.
So gifted explorations embeds the gifted
The
reading.
gifted reading.
Okay.
Yes,
So
yes. It's one and the same. Yes.
Because it looks like gifted reading is separate from gifted
No.
explorations.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
So-
Gifted reading, gifted explorations is the same class.
Then-
Yes.
okay,
Right.
fine.
Yes.
And
Okay.
we do offer a half year, one semester of gifted reading. Sometimes, rarely with 6th graders, but sometimes we get those that it just does not work in their schedule to take the year-long course. So because they want to do something else, or they're on a team that again, not with 6th graders so much, but they're on a team that they'll need athletic PE for or something like that. So we offer a half year gifted reading to make sure that they get that. It's still considered an elective. The ELA, the English Language Arts, is their core.
Right. It just sounded like he was supposed to be in 2 different
No,
classes. And I was like,
I'm glad you asked. And I had
Gifted
those.
reading, gifted explorations, same class, hand in hand.
I had
Yes.
those same questions when I started teaching last year. I was like, well, what's the difference? So,
Yeah, and that's where I am this year. I was just like, well, okay. So, Ms. Sims, I'm going to let you talk a little bit more about the 7th and 8th grade.
okay, so in 7th and 8th grade, it's just the gifted. In 6th grade, that's the only grade that we require a reading elective for all 6th graders. For 7th and 8th grade, for that reason, they don't have that option, but we do offer gifted electives that they can take. And again, sometimes with 7th and 8th graders, advanced classes or scheduling, especially when we get into 8th grade, trying to get some high school credits, it doesn't work out in their schedule to take the gifted elective, but we still serve them through the advanced or honors classes, and we still I preach this to the kids a lot. We are still their resource, so if they need anything, come
Even
to
if
us.
they're not in the class, yeah, they're always welcome down here. And hey, this is going on, or can you help me with this, or that kind of thing.
A lot of times we find that with the kids that we don't see, they need help, an advocate sometimes, just in their classes or to deal with something. And so we still are here to provide that for them. And that's another reason that when the reading was required as 6th grade, we said, hey, we want to have all of our gifted kids in 6th grade so we can lay eyes on them and at least know that they're here, let them know where to come to if they need anything.
Try to form that relationship in the 6th grade, so in 7th and 8th grade they can still come back if they want to.
In 7th grade right now, the gifted elective, this is moving ahead a little bit, but the gifted elective is Future City, which is so much fun. It's a project-based course that's 1 semester, and then If You Build It, which is a bunch of design challenge type activities. The 8th grade gifted elective this year is called Gifted Elective, and really it is more of a student-led course. They decide on what competitions they want to be involved in, like stock market game or the hardest math problem challenge. In 8th grade, they kind of get to decide. So if you've ever heard of Genius Hour or Passion Projects, it's more geared in that direction, but we try to keep it competition based. So it's what we have to look forward to.
And the sixth graders, they love seeing what's going on with the seventh and eighth graders, and it just kind of piques their interest for gifted for the next year. Yeah. Okay, you can just
Okay, so like I said, I mentioned earlier, the elementary, we did as the elementary schools did. We pulled out the gifted students. That just was not working. We weren't actually providing everything that they needed. So, and like I mentioned too, with the sixth grade, we wanted to lay eyes. We just weren't getting to reach all of our gifted students as they deserve. So we decided to go with the direction of having them every day in class rather than pulling them out like we did in elementary school. And I believe the next slide's going to explain that, not explain that, but highlight that. We also we have a new gifted team. This year, Miss King, this is her first year here at the middle school level, but even last year, it was my first year doing gifted middle school. And then the year before that, there was a new specialist across town. So all the way around, we've kind of readjusted within the last 3 years. And so far, we find that seeing the kids 5 days a week, it's consistent for them. And it stabilizes that resource for them. Right.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm sorry. This is just my first week, and middle school schedules blow my mind because I am used to traveling to a different school every day, pulling kids out for 3 hours. So, Lindsay, I'm gonna let you talk about just anything that goes along with scheduling.
Okay. So as far as scheduling for your student is in gifted reading, along with, if they're in gifted exploration, they're in gifted reading, but you also may have your child may be in honors classes, advanced classes, that would be advanced math or ELA. Some students this year, we were able to accelerate them for math. So we have some sixth grade students that were ready and are taking a seventh grade level class. So when we write these GEPs, really, I put that in there because kind of to go back to what I mentioned a few minutes ago, if they're not in gifted elective, we need to make sure that they are in an advanced class or they're being accelerated. And this GEP, the one that y'all signed or will sign, it pretty much highlights all of the permutations, if you will, the combinations. Some students, though, don't take advanced. They don't take honors classes. And so to be able to get their services, they have to have the gifted elective. They need to have it on their schedule. Otherwise, we need a parent letter to say, hey, we're good with not having gifted services provided this year. But basically, your student, if they're in our elective and taking advanced classes, they're getting multiple gifted services.
I'm sorry. I just want to make sure I understand that, because on the note, on his paper, I wrote a note because I thought it said no more than 2 honors classes or something like that. It is high standard.
Hi, that's what I thought. I've got them right here. I'm going to pull it out.
But he's actually taken, I think, 4 advanced classes. Is that in line with what the coach here?
Okay, are you, the science, the advanced science?
Yes, ma'am.
So, and I have a question about that too, and I want to check on that. From what I understand, the honors classes that are ELA math, the advanced, I'm not sure, this may be new, but I'm not sure what the advanced science or social studies, I'm not sure what that is, but historically speaking, that was not considered gifted services. So it may just be that they are ready and they're in there. And it's something that we definitely, I'm glad you brought that up. It's something we definitely need to address because when we talk about core, ELA and math are always what is on top of the list. So, good question.
Yeah, that is a very
If
good
I find
question.
out more, now he won't the advanced science or social studies as long as he can handle it. That's fine. But oh yeah, totally. But my concern is the child that doesn't have the ELA or the math honors course. My question is, do the advanced science, advanced social studies class count as gifted services? And that's just one. That's a new question that's fresh on my mind. So,
As families who did this like 5 years ago on the old system, that's how we got him in advanced science, was through his gifted plan.
through his
Because he didn't take advanced English or math, and they weren't going to let him take advanced science, and his gifted teacher got him in advanced science. That was
okay.
and
So
they justified that under his gifted.
Which
Right.
makes sense because
Yes.
our gifts are all
Yes.
different.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
well, and two, I know that when we started this, it may have been that it was strictly or explicitly stated, the ELA or the math, because we made sure that the teachers that were teaching that course had gifted training, that they knew how to.
And that may go all the way back to the pull out.
Right.
To the pull out. And if your child was gifted and they weren't getting pull out services, then that was a way we could assure they were getting services, was English and math. This sounds like something that's been kind of added on since then.
Right. And I know, again, with the teachers, the content teachers teaching the subjects, if we do find that, like the science and social studies, if they have not been trained in gifted ed in some way, they'll definitely get it. I know that, like the ELA, when we went this route, the ELA and math teachers had a pretty intense course of teaching that was gifted ed. So I hope I'm not speaking out of turn here, but I'm thinking that it was explicitly stated language arts and math because they knew that those teachers at that time had the adequate gifted training. I'll check on the science and social studies, but if he's got all 4 advanced classes, if a student is taking all advanced classes, as long as they can handle it, at the same time, if the student needs to pull back and take 2 advanced and 2 regular, that is okay. Yes, totally fine.
Do you guys have any questions? Did you all get a GEP? Have you all gotten a GEP? Does anybody need one?
I just didn't want to sign.
Just wanted to sign. Do you have any questions about the GEP? Basically, that's what it is saying is that, you have a pen, Miss Sam?
Yes, but let me
Okay.
get some sanitizer.
Are the different ways that they can be served. And I'm glad that you brought that up. We will check on that today with Mr. Bergeson. But as long as they are doing gifted or advanced classes, that counts. Sometimes we have kids who, after elementary school, for whatever reason, they have to take the gifted reading, but say in 7th and 8th grade, they don't have room for it in their schedule. They're not taking advanced classes, but they still have a GEP and they are still gifted, and we don't want to lose those kids. Like, if they're not taking an advanced class and they're not in here with us, we still want them to know they can come here. I mean, maybe they do bad on the test or they're a perfectionist and something's going on. We need them to know they've got a place to come because they're still being served, with their gifted specialist, and just an advocacy for them so that they have somebody that they can depend on.
Yeah, if there's one thing that I just having 1 year here, if there's one thing I could preach, it's know that we're here and come to us. Students, and parents, guardians, y'all too, but students, tell them, if they're frustrated, y'all know you're the parents of gifted kids, those traits that come out, that anxiety, stress, frustration, let them know they can come to us. We're their cheerleader, and I have found that we definitely are sometimes that person that goes and speaks on their behalf to their teachers or just kind of checks in on them. So
Sometimes everybody doesn't get it, and they might see it as misbehavior or, and that's where we can come in and say, hey, yeah, look, you know, they're having a hard time. I mean, some kids can do bad on the test and, you know, we not care, or do bad and care but not fall to pieces. But then you've got a gifted kid who it might just, you know, they cannot go on with their day until they are able to sit down and talk that out with somebody. Those are the kind of things. I mean, I have seen 3rd through 5th grade for 7 years, and I've tried my best to equip them with that kind of thing. And so this is a little bit different to me, even though I only saw my students once a week. I had them for 3 years. So there was a huge bond there. So I'm loving seeing everybody every day. It's just the schedule over here. But I will catch up. I promise. I will catch up. But yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing that I want to say from this. It's just that we are their advocates. We will do whatever we can. You can feel free to reach out to us. They know they can come, you know, at any time. And I mean, from, you know, dress coded, we've got clothes in here they can change into, to just anything. Anything else, Miss Sandy?
Not that it's grades. Speaking of grades, we're an elective. If it comes from our class, I wish that the kids believed you when you said, okay, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We'll extend it. They have so much going on, and they're new to the middle school world, and we're in a pandemic. So just to make a blanket statement, if there is any stress for classes, make sure it's not gifted, because we'll work with them, and we try to convince them of that. You know, sometimes we see the tears of stress in general, but try to remind them that we're here for them. We get it. We get it. What they're feeling, we're probably feeling too. So we're here for y'all and the
I
students.
told them, I'm